Now, two Su-27 heavy fighter jets from the Russian Knights aerobatics team have crashed during a final rehearsal ahead of the Max 2009 airshow in the Moscow region. The squadron leader died in the collision while the other two pilots survived. Well, RT's Natalia Novikova is at the scene and she can now join us live. Natalia, truly tragic events taking place today. Do we know anything else about the pilots of those crashed jets?
Well, the information has been confirmed. One of the three pilots died today in a plane crash. Two Russian fighter jets, Su-27 of the Russian Knights flying team, collided in the air and then fell on one of the houses in a village just outside Moscow. They were preparing their final preparations, training flights for the International Airshow Moscow. And we can now listen to a comment by some of the witnesses here in the village who saw the tragic crash with their own eyes.
There was an orange flash during the collision, then black smoke. When the smoke cleared up, we saw one of the planes spinning down outside the field. We all held our breaths because we couldn't quite tell what was happening to the pilots, if they were alive or not. We couldn't see any parachutes.
Two pilots are said to be in satisfactory conditions. Meanwhile, unfortunately, one pilot who died was in fact the commander of the Russian Knights flying team. His name was Igor Tkachenko, and ahead of the upcoming International Airshow Max, RT has been preparing a series of reports, including a report on the Russian Knights flying team. And Igor Tkachenko, just days before his tragic death, spoke to RT, and RT was one of the last news channels that Igor Tkachenko spoke to. Let's now listen to a part of that interview.
We select pilots for our two groups, the Swifts and the Russian Knights, from among ordinary pilots, based on both their airmanship and their psychological characteristics. Also, our squadron is unique in that, unlike other aerobatic groups in Europe, or say in the US, in addition to aerobatic training, we have regular combat training as well. Our squadron is permanently ready for combat. In fact, I believe it would be good for every fighter pilot to go through the same training course as the one we have for our pilots here in Kubinka. One thing that all our pilots share in common is that they are always eager to fly. They are willing to train day and night as much as they can.
Now, Natalia, you're obviously on the ground there at the crash site itself. What can you see and what's the reaction been like there?
Well, we're hearing reports that there still can be one person left under the ruins of the burned houses. However, that information hasn't yet been confirmed. We also know that the owner of the house was luckily not at home when the crash happened. However, three houses around his house burned down, as well as a garage, and 5 people have been taken to hospitals with severe burns. We cannot get any closer, unfortunately, right now to the spot because the Russian emergency service and ambulances working there to try and find that person who could still be under the ruins. And we can now listen to some more comments of the witness of the crash.
The jet crashed down on that house over there. It's a miracle the house owners are even alive. They are our good friends. We all know each other here, so when we saw what happened, we ran over here to help.
Local residents still clearly in a state of shock and conflicting reports still emerging in details. But are we any closer, Natalia, to knowing the cause of this collision?
Well, the black boxes have been found, but they have not been decoded yet. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, it must have been a pilot's mistake that caused the collision in the first place, and then the crash, and that caused the fact that one of the planes landed on a village. There is a second version, which is that a bird flew into one of the engines of one of the flights. However, one of the planes. However, according to the Russian Defense Ministry, the second version was less likely to cause the plane crash. And we're also hearing the reports that flights of the Russian Knights flying group might be cancelled at the Max International Airshow this year to remember the death of their commander.
All right, Natalia, thank you very much for that. We will, of course, cross back to you as more details continue to trickle out from this truly tragic accident. Natalia Novikova, thank you very much for that update.